Temporary water planning in construction. In this video, I'm going to take you to my computer and show you the plan, the timeline, and the actual sketch for our temporary water plan. Now, water isn't as hard to get as temporary power or even sometimes temp communications. Typically, it's simple. It's as simple as finding a hydrant, finding a water source, finding a place where you can tap the water main, and then bringing it up in a riser, setting up your backflow preventer, having the city install the meter, getting the permit, and then monitoring your usage and paying the bill. Typically, that's what it's all about. But there's some other considerations, right? Is it at the best location? How are you going to do temporary watering for the actual project site for dust control, especially in Maricopa County in Phoenix, Arizona, right? There's a lot that goes into this, and you do need, actually, water is easier to get than power, but you need water day one, right? Because you have to control that dust. You have to start grading that site. We want you to be successful. So in the video, again, I'm going to show you the plan. I'm going to show you the timeline that we put in intact, and I'm going to show you a sketch so you can go own this and be prepared before you start, because nobody wants to be rushing and panicking when you need water and you're a little bit delayed. So if you're into that, stay with us on this video. Okay, everybody, I'm excited to be with you on the Miro board. After the introduction, I want to talk to you about temporary water planning. This is very similar to what we did with the temporary power, if you watched that video. And the three components that we had was we have a plan, a timeline, and a sketch. And I'm going to show all those to you right now. Let's first come over here to the plan. Now, this is in a document. So again, like I said in the other video, it doesn't seem super, use the word sexy, meaning there's quite a few words. But when I first saw this, one of our project engineers put this together and I was like, that's a lot of words. But what I realized is that they used a combination of ChatGPT, electrical wisdom, some of the previous projects that we've done with High Street, and they really kind of put together a nice plan. So there's regulatory requirements, pre-install requirements, the system design overview. We included the map over here, the installation process, the protection of the water system, safety measures, troubleshooting and maintenance, the whole nine. And by the time we were done, we had pretty much a reference class, multiple bits of information to put together the plan. And like I said with the temporary power video, we included this in the bid packages and have emailed this multiple times to different folks, especially to bidders who were asking to install the temporary water for the project site. So, and they've really appreciated it quite a bit. So that's our plan. Now, let me take you over here to our timeline. This isn't intact, and you can see that we have our timelines for pre-mobilization. And you see temp power, which is the other video I did, then temp water. Temp water is a lot shorter timeline, but what you'll see here is that we really have to make sure that it's soon enough. So instead of just having it ahead of concrete, we need to make sure that it's ready to go day one for the site work itself. So one of the things that I'm going to do over here is make sure that it's tied properly, and I'll take it right over here and save those links, and you'll see what happens in intact is that it adjusts to the right predecessor. So literally we have it ahead of concrete and ahead of the actual site work itself. So pretty remarkable stuff. So we have the timeline ready to go, and we know when we need to start. And so that allows us to submit the application, the approval process, right? Then install the setup, the backflow preventer, the stand, have the city install the meter, a little bit of a buffer, and then we're ready to go for construction. So we're jamming out. The other thing is sketch is typically what I recommend. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is come over here and use Miro to highlight a couple of these things, and I'm going to do it with a red dot. So this temporary water map shows a couple of things. All right, lay down areas where we will definitely want temporary water available, right? Buildings where we will want to make sure that we have spigot available next to the building and for dust control around the project site, right? We need to make sure that we have connection for our water truck, right? We need to make sure that we have connections for our washrooms. We need to make sure we have connections for our temporary trailer. We have cool down stations near every building, so we need to make sure that those are all available, right? So this temporary water plan shows where we're going to have some temporary piping for our water, where we're going to feed the trailer, and basically the overall plan. And over here to the right, we have a summary, as you can see right here in the notes, of basically what was written in the text in a summary format, and the legend showing where everything is, so that contractors, especially when they come in here and say, hey, what are they going to do for temporary water? It's absolutely clear. And then when we talk about things like what's happening with the rest of this land, yeah, obviously we're going to have to use a water truck, and then we can work on our dust mitigation plan, right? And any other planning on the project site. This is is helpful for the plumber or the site utility contractor who's going to set it up. It's helpful for the other contractors to know what they're going to be interacting with. And basically, we have all of the critical components, and I'm pretty proud of this. So to show you again, we have the actual plan over here to the right, which is remarkable. We have the timeline in the production plan ready to go, and we have the sketch. And like I said, we use this constantly to communicate with trades in the bid packages, actually a part of the scope when we're writing contracts for who's installing the system for us, and we're ready to go. So if you're a new PE, assistant super, assistant PM, you're figuring this out, hopefully this is a nice little guide for you to figure out how to do it. What we'll do is we'll give you these images. We don't mind sharing any of this with you, and hopefully this helps you to do this on your own. On we go.